Holla, if you hear, you boys, welcome back to Headaches Not Dick Podcast. I am host Chaperian alongside my co-host, Hearn. He's not General Booty, despite, he gets that a lot. It's not him. That's someone else who's General Booty. Make no mistake, he is actually otherwise known as Danube Ube, the famous Korean penis/potato farmer. But we call him the Herniator. How are you, pal?
Dude, I love them potatoes.
Yeah, well, I guess, is it most of your diet? Is it potatoes on the plate every single night for you and your family?
Yeah. In some way, shape, or form. But there's so many ways you can have them. There's so many ways you can have
well,
potatoes.
Don't go full Bubba on me now. I don't want you to go full Bubba Gump on me, you know?
I wish I could pull that quote out of my butt right now, but I can't. Off the top of my head.
What, with all the shrimpy names?
Yeah, all the ways you can.
It's insane. Yeah. My mom likes to make that joke all the time. She'll always talk about blank shrimp and blank shrimp and blank shrimp and shrimp with this and shrimp. I'm like, oh my god. What is your hat? I didn't ask you.
It's dolphins. It's just backwards.
Dolphins. Where have the headbands been?
I don't know. My hair's just in a weird spot where
you don't like the way it looks as much.
Just aren't really. If I wear a headband and I lean forward, it's still hair everywhere. So if I want it to look nice at all, I have to wear a headband and tie it back and stuff. So it's just in this weird.
Well, we said, the hair looks great. I've got something random. I mean, seriously, the hair looks great. Why'd you shake your head? No, it does.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliment. I like your getup tonight as well.
Do you? I don't think you do. I think you're lying.
No, I think
you secretly hate my getup.
You're always matching the hats and the shirts, and that takes some dedication.
I try my best. I do try my best. Yeah, but I mean, I have a hat for everything or a couple for everything. So
yeah,
I think I have a couple.
You got over under 18 hats.
Over for sure, but not by a ton. I think it's probably 23 or 24.
I thought that was a decent line. But
I've got 4 Bengals hats, 6 or 7 Reds hats, dude. A lot of Reds hats. Because I've got St. Patrick's Day. I've got a throwback one. I've got when they did the multiple different years. I have a couple of those, 1919 and 1911. Right. I have those hats. A regular one. Funny story. My church actually did a themed Reds hat that just has Reds and a little logo on the side that is my church's logo for real as a giveaway at a game, which was super cool.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Got one of those. So yeah, I've got a ton of just Reds. I'm in double digits with just Reds and Bengals. So, double digits.
So, yeah.
St. Patrick's Day Reds hat. Did I say that already? I don't know. So.
Is that green?
It is green. Yes. And it's funny because, on the back, it says Reds. Green.
It's like that game where, you got to select the color, but, the color is, red.
It's hard,
spelled, but it's, green.
That is a hard game. That is a very hard game.
It messes with you, dude. It really messes with you.
All of this to be used as a hard segue into something I wanted to throw at you. I just wanted to point out something. I'm starting to feel less and less bad for people who get scammed the older I get. What do you think?
Okay. I think most of the time I fully agree. Yeah, there are some that are pretty darn creative.
Like the bank calling me from my actual bank's phone number when it was not my bank.
That was
still don't know.
Insanely deep.
My grandparents are falling for that every time. I promise you. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, for sure. But did one happen? Did you see one that particularly?
Did you see the Bridgerton scam?
Oh my god, no.
It's okay. Not. Did you see the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory scam? I think it was that. Was it Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah, it's the unknown.
Yes, that again, but another show this time.
They did a
$300 per ticket.
Oh, for a ball, was it?
Yes.
Was it a ball?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen this, but I don't know much about it. Okay.
It was just in a barren and empty room. I'm like. You all are idiots. People are spending their money up front without asking enough questions, in my opinion. Yeah. I shouldn't publicize this. I'm going to, but I'm not going to give details because I don't want to get judged by the listeners of the pod. I can research something I want for 6 months. I can want something for 6 months. I can know it's relatively expensive. Let's say $200, okay? Which is not, I don't drop $200 a day on just whatever. I'm thinking about it, okay? Mm-hmm. I can know in and out, this is the one I want. Here are things to look out for if there are fake or knockoff versions or things people like to do. And still, when it comes time to purchase it, be unsure of myself and get cold feet. Okay?
Okay.
That happens. How are people spending $300 on a Bridgerton ball that's never happened from a company you've definitely never heard of, from a guy who definitely has no reason to be trusted.
Right.
You're lucky it didn't turn to Firefest. You're lucky there was an event, even if it sucked.
What did they do? Was it flyers, or how did they even see that this was
How
a
did
thing?
they even see? I have no clue.
What was the advertising?
How are these people seeing this crap? I'm starting to feel less and less bad for the people getting scammed these days. I really am. Because, like, it's not 2016 or 17 anymore when it was like internet scams. I mean, internet scams have been around as long as the internet. But, like, if you were falling for the Nigerian prince scams, you're a whole new level of stupid, okay? Mm-hmm. But, like, you know, really techie scams, people posing as companies, posing as Amazon, calling you with automated voice messages and stuff, that was new. And so, like, I understand an adjustment period. If you're still adjusting and you're under the age of 50, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
I like to do,
I don't feel bad.
literally last night at like 8:30 p.m. my time, I got a spam call. Dude, I get frustrated. Like, if I get like a telemarketer call at 2:30, they're always frustrating, right? Like, I don't normally answer them, but at 8:30, dude, I'm like, don't call me when it's past 5 o'clock. Don't do it. So anytime one calls me that is past normal business hours, I will answer.
Oh, yeah.
And I normally scream some kind of threat into the phone. And I always do it in like a different accent or a different dialect or whatever. So like last night at 8:30, I got a call. I didn't even let him speak. I just answered the phone. I said, "You called me again? I sent my people for your people." And I hung up.
I can't wait for the FBI to come beating down your door one day and be like, "We took these threats seriously."
Yeah. You threatened like 80 people at this point, bro. Like, you need to stop.
Did I tell you about the time I didn't get to go to a Bengals game last year because I did the same thing, thinking it was someone that was trying to call me and scam me, but it wasn't.
What was it? The person like trying to sell you your tickets?
No, I wasn't trying to buy tickets or anything. Since we moved, okay, we've been told that Kat, my wife, for people who don't otherwise know, has like extended family in the area of Cincinnati, within the area, that have lived there for forever, okay?
Your wife Kat does? I didn't know that.
So what?
Kat has extended family in
extended family. Like one specific household. That's it. And they're not around, they don't have the same last names. Extended, right? Keyword extended.
Okay.
It's like her grandmother's cousin. So I mean that's extended enough to where it's like you're not family. And right. You know what I mean? Like we talked about this before. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they don't know each other. They literally don't know each other, okay? And we'd go home for the holidays to our hometown and be told, like, well, I gave her your number, so she's going to reach out to you at some point. And we'd be like, okay, and that's fine. That's harmless. That's fine. You know?
Sure.
We're going through a period last year where we're getting spam calls, both of us, constantly. Yeah. Okay? And I frequently will answer and screw around for a second, right?
Right.
I always answer as an old man, because that's who they're looking for, are old men and women.
They think they got it.
To see what's going on. And so, this time, I didn't do that. I have her phone. It's her phone. She's getting called. I'm doing something for Pokemon. We both play Pokemon Go. You could reach a stop in the backyard. I'd walk out to the backyard, spin it, come back in if we needed something for it, right? Okay. So, I have her phone. She gets a call from an unknown Cincinnati number. If you don't know, the only people we know in Cincinnati are, like, coworkers. That's the only people we know. Yeah. We don't know anyone here. If we get an unknown Cincinnati number, it's a scam. I answer, and I go, immediately, before they speak, what do you want? It's like 9 o'clock at night as well, by the way. That's why I was so whatever. I'm like, this is late, dude. I go, what do you want? And she goes, please? Which is a Cincinnati thing I didn't know about. People in Cincinnati sometimes say, excuse me? Can you say it again? Please means, can you repeat that?
Do what?
Please? I've heard 4 or 5 total people say it, by the way. It's not like a common thing.
Yeah.
And I say, lose this number. Hang up.
It was the extended?
Calling to offer us free Bengals tickets for Sunday. Oh, it's so good.
How'd you find that out? How did you find out that it was
I go out, okay? I have, like, work pickleball that night still, right? And I'm going out. It's late, whatever. I come back. And she was already planning on calling her grandmother that night when I was out. That's the person who knows this person, right? And I come back home. She's like, by the way, that person that you did that to earlier was like extended family of mine. I'm like, huh? That cousin? Whatever? She's like, yeah, it was them calling. I'm like, they didn't say that.
You didn't give them time.
I answered. I said, why are you calling? I answered. I said, why are you calling? You could have said, is Caitlin there? Her real name, right? She's gonna cringe when she hears me say her real name. That's what everyone in her family calls her. You could have said that. Hey, is Caitlin there? This is her so-and-so, whatever. I would have been like, oh.
Lose this number.
Lose this number.
Same scenario. Same outcome.
All you said was, please? Lose this number.
Please.
No, but like, we do go home to Beckley that weekend. It's Saturday night. We're at dinner with her grandmother at her grandmother's house. And she's like, well, I've talked to her since then. She was trying to see if you guys wanted to go to the Bengals game this weekend. They've got extra tickets because they have season tickets, and they've got 2 they can't use this weekend. So she was talking to me, and I was like, well, I know they like the Bengals. You should see if they want to go. Fun thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
You remember what game it was? Like, would have been a killer game to go to? Or?
No, I'm glad I didn't go to this game. The Bengals were down this entire game, came back and crawled, and they did tie it. That's the game I sent you a clip of where Tyler Boyd dropped the game when he touchdown pass. A really bad drop. He should not have dropped that ball. He dropped it twice, technically, on the same play. Really bad. That one. So nice. I'm like, I'll live. You know?
Yeah. That's so funny that like you were literally being offered like a free experience.
It would have been like the best Bengals seats I've had ever. So like, she pulled them up on Facebook one day, like her grandmother or whatever. Like they've got like good season ticket seats. But then seriously though, so I'm like, okay, through lines of communication, it got back to them of we thought it was a spam call. And that's how we handle spam calls. That's a normal way to handle spam calls. It's not unheard of.
Yeah.
We said, call us back then. I didn't know who was you. It's not like I knew who it was and we were rude. I didn't know. No, have not heard from them since. Not once. Have not heard from them since.
Wow. So, You said they took you seriously. You said lose this number. They said bet.
Yeah, I guess.
They lost it.
I'm like, that's what I freaking get. I deserve that, I guess. Or do I really deserve that? Or is that just my luck? I don't know. 6 of 1.
I didn't deserve that, did I? It sounds like a Impractical Jokers challenge. I didn't deserve that.
Did I? And you have to get him to agree, even though you did deserve it.
I love those. Are pretty good normally.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like throwing that out there. I don't feel bad if people get scammed these days as much because a lot of you all are idiots.
There are some that are pretty creative. Like I think literally today, actually, I was on the phone with my dad, and my mom in the background was saying that she got a text from Home Depot, like your package has been delivered. And there was a link or whatever, but in the text there was like an item number.
Yeah.
And my dad went and looked it up, and it was like for a freaking like dryer or something. But it was a legit item at Home Depot. Like, if you, I don't know, maybe somehow if you're old, you're falling for that for sure. If you're like what, whatever. But the biggest thing my wife is, she's almost been guilty of. I have saved her at least 3 times. Is that she'll find some like crazy like shoe sale
Great deal.
on Facebook. There was one time she had like 3 pairs of like Nikes for like a total of $100 in her car. I was like, I don't like this, and I did. I had to go look through the site. I had to go dig.
Find how old the site is through the domain people. That's a telltale sign every time.
Yeah, I was just poking around like on the site, and dude, it was very well made. It looked legit through and through. But then like finally one of the things, like you scroll all the way down and like the like about us section or whatever, it was like so many typos, so many words made absolutely no sense. I was like,
yeah,
there it is,
dude. So, I've talked to you about like fake/replica jerseys, right? And like, you know, I'm adamant about it. Technically the one you're wearing is, but I mean, you first of all don't care, right? So I had a coworker who I worked with in Beckley at Starbucks, and we both loved the NBA. He loved LeBron. I'm a Lakers fan. LeBron signs with the Lakers. He's like, I got to get a LeBron Lakers jersey, right? Whatever. He shows me one of these days, and he's like, yeah, I've got 2 LeBron jerseys coming for $30. I'm like,
2 for 30.
These are going to be and they were bad fits.
It's like a trash bag with the LeBron's number painted on it.
And he goes,
23.
He's like, no, dude, I'll show you. And they did arrive, by the way. They did arrive. But he's like, nah, dude, I'll show you. Look. He's like, look, it's got the NBA logo on it and everything, like on the website. I'm like, I could put that there. That doesn't matter at all.
That's easy. That's easy, bro.
My poor mother, had something like this happen recently too, and I didn't give her a hard time about it, but I'm like, I guess if you grew up thinking this meant something, you don't know. There was this really bad fake tin, Tin, 10 of Pokemon cards. And I was like, I'm good. They're not real. I don't want it. She goes, it has the Nintendo seal on it. You know that Nintendo seal of authenticity that's on like most Game Boy like cartridges and stuff? I got a game here. Can you see that gold seal?
Ah, okay. Yeah.
The gold seal right there.
Yeah.
It says official Nintendo seal. It had that on it. I'm like, Mom, I could have put that on there. It doesn't mean anything. I could find that and put that on there. It doesn't matter.
Right.
That kind of thing. It has the NBA logo on the website. It doesn't mean anything, dude.
It's legit.
So he did get jerseys, and they were as bad as you could possibly imagine. So, but I mean, if that's what you want and you're cool with it, cool. I see him from a mile away, and I'm like, I wouldn't be caught dead with that. Like the one you're wearing looks really good. Really good. So, what's it say on the back? Huh?
What's it say on the back?
What's it say on the back? Oh, yeah! Let's go! Booty! Yeah!
I'm gonna wear this. Next week. I'm in a work volleyball league now on Tuesdays, and I'm gonna wear this jersey next time I play.
You have enough people in your
14 booty
at your job that are interested in volleyball to play? That's crazy, dude.
Oh well, first off, like at my, I don't know how much this part matters, but at my building, I think there's like 1,800 people.
Yeah.
There's a decent amount of people in there. And there's 12 teams, 14 teams. There's 14 teams of 6 in this league right now, yeah.
We've started struggling to get 8 people for pickleball, which blows my mind. I'm like, how are we struggling to get 8 people? How are we struggling to get 8 people? Yeah, I don't know. So we're only asking like 30 total, but like, how are we not getting 8 people? That blows my mind.
Mm-hmm. Advertise it better.
All this to say that we've spoken enough about this to get into the main course. If you clicked on this video, you clicked on this YouTube video, you're probably like, when are they going to talk about the thing that I clicked on this video for? We're bad. We're guilty of that. We are guilty of that. Where we're like, we'll bury the lead hard and we don't preview the episodes at the start of the episode. So probably like, are they going to get to this or not? We're not the only pod that does this. I've seen another pod do this where like I'll click on it and I'll be like, okay, it's an hour-long pod. They'll get to the title of the pod at the 52nd minute. I'll be like, I guess. You had to make the title something.
Right.
We have, since day one of this podcast, said at some point we'll do an episode about growing up in wild and freaking wonderful
Almost
West Virginia.
heaven.
And this is that episode. This is time. It's time. Enough time has passed. And so, while we didn't necessarily have, enough time to write out whole lists of things we want to talk about, we can go off the cuff on this easy peasy. This isn't our DNA.
We spent enough of our lives there. Yeah.
Speaking of DNA, 97% of people in our home state couldn't tell me what DNA stands for. Could you? You know what it stands for? Think about it. This means nothing about you as an intelligent person, by the way. You can be an intelligent person and not know what DNA stands for.
This is one of those things where if you give me multiple choice, I think I could grab it. But
can you tell me the first part of it? It's kind of a cheat. I remember it because there's a Pokemon with this. Like, their name is based off of this.
No, I do not off the top of my head. This is what, once you say, I'm like, oh yeah.
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Yeah.
There's a Pokemon called Deoxys. Named after that. So
Okay.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is this going to be just a trash session of West Virginia in your mind? Or is it going to be like more of an open-ended discussion about growing up there? Because in my mind, when I think about it and I talk about it, it's going to feel like more of a trash session, to be honest.
Yeah, I could see it going a little bit of both ways because I've said it for a while now. I think like West Virginia is one of those things where like I can hate on it. I can hate on it. You cannot. Yeah. Dude, like whenever we lived in Knoxville and the people that would start like making fun of West Virginia, whatever, I was like, no.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Only I can.
Yeah.
But then I will make fun of it hard.
Like that idiot on the other side of my feet. Isn't everyone from Western Virginia related? God.
Shut up.
So, with that in mind.
Can y'all be original?
Yeah, I know, right? You want to start? Is there something that strikes a chord with you that you're like, this is where my mind immediately goes to it, that you'd like to start us with?
I just think, I don't know, my two biggest beefs with West Virginia and why I will never live there is because of probably mostly the climate. I don't
That's actually
like
crazy.
I don't like the climate. I agree you get the 4 seasons, and that's fine. I don't like it snowing before Halloween. I do not. That's insane to me. That means October, November, December. That means October, November, December, January, February, March. It's at least. April. Yes, sometimes they get another snow, like right before Easter.
Yeah, it's happened. Yeah.
That means at least half the year it's snowing, which means at least half the year it's freezing. I hate that. I don't. To the surprise of nobody from our episode last week, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
That's not really a West Virginia thing. It's a West Virginia thing for us being where we lived, and for you having lived in now 3 states. It's like okay, but that's a lot of the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But that's one of my biggest reasons for, I guess, that. And I have said that, like, I think Tennessee, North Carolina is probably the farthest north
I would ever live. Freaking so bad, dude. It keeps showing up on the alt and headaches, and I'm like, every time I hear it, I want to die. It creaks so bad. Sorry about it. I gotta move. I can't sit still. You know, I gotta be moving.
Yeah, you need to get one of those like little treadmills you can sit there and like walk on or whatever.
I have one. I have a walking pad, but it's not a chair though. They have treadmill chairs.
No, I was just saying, like, put that underneath your feet right now and just sit there.
Oh, because I'm like, I gotta be moving.
Yeah.
I technically could.
I can't do that. You walk on that and type at the same time. There's no way I could do that.
I've not tried to do it while working yet, for what it's worth. People do it though. I think I could. I can't. Yeah, I intend to at some point.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I've been talking for a minute, so I'll come back to another reason that you. What comes to your mind about West Virginia that?
It is mostly trash session in my mind when I think about it, because my number one issue with the people in West Virginia are the people living there, which sounds terrible to say. And you're like, what? And if you're listening to the pod and you're someone we know, we're not talking about you. There's plenty of great people in West Virginia, obviously. Sure. I take no offense to when people say men are trash, because they're saying that about men who don't do things that, or who do things that I don't do. When they list the reason men are trash, men do blank, 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 and I'm like, you know, I'm sure there's some things, if you had a lemon with 50 things, yeah, I'm sure I do some of those things. Most of the bad things I don't do. So when I say the people in West Virginia suck, I'm probably not talking about you, okay?
Right.
But the number one thing that comes to my mind that I feel like you're going to agree with me on, 100%. I think you'll agree with me on this. My wife and I have this conversation all the time. You live in Texas now, so you see the other side of this. West Virginia is fake country. It's fake. It's fake, dude. It's not real. Country culture, you know, moonshine, you know, cowboy hat, crazy boots, big old truck. Dude, you live in Charleston, West Virginia. 2.5 minutes from the Target and the Best Buy. Shut up. All right? We got to go to the Morgan Wallen concert. You don't. You don't have to, right? Yeah. I don't want to hear none of that other stuff. Okay, dude. It's fake. It's totally fake. All the stuff they're singing about in the country songs, all the stuff they used to talk about on the 80s country music, all the stories you hear about, the hardships of stuff, coal miners and stuff like that, who do still exist, but are, first of all, coal mining is very different than it even was 40 years ago or so. Coal mining is something that, you know, I've got the past to talk about. It runs in the family. Things like that on one side. I can talk about it. It's not the same as it used to be. It is still very hard. I get it. All of the stuff that you're like, this is what it means to be a West Virginian. It's faked, dude. You're faking it. It's not real. The camo everything, the bullcrap country hats and outfits and music and stuff. It's fake, dude. It's fake. You go to Texas, they mean that crap. They stand on that crap. They're not kidding, okay? And I'm sure, like, Dallas and, you know, Houston and stuff, like, no, not everyone has a cowboy hat in 20 acres. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying you have to have that to qualify as, like, well, I'm pretty country, right?
Right.
But, dude, if you're hanging out at the Lowe's parking lot on Friday nights, right? Drinking Miller Lights, I imagine, or Natty Ice or something like that.
Miller High Life.
Miller High Life. Oh, God. Yeah. I've seen a whole Facebook page of people talking about Miller High Life. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Like,
no, but I believe it. Yeah.
You're not country. Got this new lift kit on my truck. Yeah. You don't need a truck. You've never used that truck for anything that a truck is used for. Yeah, I've got the new F-250. Yeah, it's great. They're like, did they make F-450s? Is that a thing?
They might. I know they do 350s.
Okay. Yeah, I've got that. Got the new lift kit on it. Took the freaking muffler off and made sure this thing is killing the environment. Doing my part in that, right? You never use it for anything, dude. You might haul a piece of furniture once every 2 years. It's fake country. It's fake country. And it annoys me as someone who has no soft spot for the country stuff, despite the fact that half of my family is as real country as it comes, starting with my grandparents, right? It died with my parents' generations, starting with my grandparents and back. That's real country.
Okay.
You go to a place like Tennessee, even the tourist areas, Pigeon Forge, you can tell they mean that crap. They're not kidding. That's them. That's who they are. You go to West Virginia, it's not that. It's annoying.
I'll give you that. It's funny. You nailed it with like the Lowe's parking lot or like... Dude,
that is a thing. You know about that?
Yeah, we would
That's
go
People
and
hang out there.
What would you do growing up? 'Cause obviously, like, I'm sure if you were doing drugs and you were whatever, I'm sure there were different spots to hang out that I was not privy to.
Sure.
But if you were not in that crowd, like I was not, dude, we would literally like, you want to go to the Crossroads Mall and just walk around? Yeah. We would go to the mall and just walk around because we had a mall, a bowling alley, and a movie theater. We
had those though. It wasn't a 25-minute drive to the nearest bowling alley.
Yeah.
In an area that just has a bowling alley.
Yeah. There's some places like, is it Meadow View or Meadow Ridge?
Meadow Bridge?
Meadow Bridge, is that what it is?
Yes. What are you about to say about Meadow Bridge?
That's in the middle of nowhere, I think. I think that's kind of like...
That's where my mom's family's from, dude. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay, so that's country. Okay.
That's the part that I'm like, they're real country. That's them. They live in Meadow Bridge. Okay. That's them.
Okay, see?
That's real.
McDowell County, a lot of people down in McDowell County, I think they're kind of living it. They're kind of
a little squirrely.
Okay. Yeah, dude, we went to, my father and I one time, we went shooting somewhere. It was an outdoor range.
No, that's very country.
It might have been in McDowell County. I don't know exactly where it was. We went once. We're like, we're never going again. Because you drove back in the holler for like 20 minutes on like one-lane roads. Then you just stop and there's like a big, tons of trees are cut down, just this big valley. And you walk out there. You got to hope that people just stop shooting. And you go out there and hang up your target and you shoot. I could shoot you dead. Nobody's going to find your body for weeks, dude. You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, okay, we're not doing that again.
Not going back there.
You go down the right roads. You go down the Meadow Bridge.
Meadow Bridge, baby.
Meadow Bridge.
Home of the Wildcats.
The Wildcats, okay.
Yeah, and their logo for their high school was Clemson's paw, but like North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay. Ugh.
And it looks pretty cool, but it's a knockoff. So,
like every high school, Independence was like literally the Patriots.
Literally the Patriots. Literally the Patriots. Like top to bottom, literally the Patriots. Even the helmets. Yeah. So, all this to say, it just bothers me a little bit. I think West Virginia has a legitimate identity crisis. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, I feel privileged enough to say this. Like, I'm privy enough, I should say. Not privileged, but privy. Because one half, like, when I say one half, I'm talking about grandparents, I guess, here. One of my wife's sets of grandparents lives in a legitimate, literal textbook holler. Have you ever been to a holler, Hearn?
Dude, my grandparents lived on a road called blank blank holler.
Okay.
It was a holler. So
okay.
Yeah.
And then my other grandparents, the ones that live in Meadow Bridge, lived in a holler. Their house is where a holler used to be. It was literally all of my grandparents' siblings and relatives in one giant area.
Uh-huh.
Over time, people started buying it out to where it was like 2 or 3 plots of land. Now my grandparents own all of it. It's just them. No one else lives there.
Nice.
Yeah. Right? It worked out. It was a holler, though. If you've not been to a legitimate holler, you don't know, like, what we're talking about. If the most country thing about you is the camo hat, I don't want to hear about it. Oh, yeah, just because you've got, Zen pouches and chewing tobacco, you're not country, dude. You're not. I don't want to hear about it.
Oh, my God. The number of, you're describing, so I'm just having flashbacks. And
every
time you bring up something, the number of people in high school, I'm like, oh, my God, like, they did that.
It's an identity crisis. Dude, that a lot of these people have. Yeah.
I think I said earlier the two biggest things, like my two biggest beefs with West Virginia was the climate. I personally, and again, that could happen in half of the U.S. You could pick that out.
Yeah.
The opportunity in West Virginia is probably the most killer for me as an adult.
Number one. It's probably number one.
Yeah, and the one thing that I always pinpoint, and I know this is like a weird thing to pinpoint. I'm not saying this is why West Virginia sucks, is this right here. I'm just saying this is a good example of what I mean. Is how, like, in our high school, dude, the number of high school sports that we didn't have.
Insane.
That, even in Tennessee, I'm not saying, like, Tennessee is, like, a holler or whatever, too. But I'm just saying it's not like it was that far away. It's not like the worlds were that different. But in Tennessee, they had lacrosse, they had ultimate frisbee, they had boys volleyball. That's the biggest one I've said forever. Is if we had boys volleyball, I would have done it. I would have loved it. Whatever. We literally didn't have it. I didn't have the opportunity to do something that I loved in the whole state. I looked it up. I think there are 2 high schools in the whole state that do it, which I guess means they either just play each other constantly, or they, I guess they got to go abroad and play like in Ohio or wherever.
Yeah,
they are.
If you're or DC area, if you're in that area. Yeah.
Like. And again, I'm not saying West Virginia doesn't have boys volleyball in high school, and that's why they suck. I'm just saying that's a good example of, like, they don't have stuff. They don't have stuff. You cannot.
But then, like, Michigan right now, Michigan, the Wolverines, I should say, not the state, the college, Michigan, has a tight end, Colston Loveland. He's the number 1 projected tight end in this upcoming draft class. Will be a late first, early second round pick. He's great. He's from Idaho. Okay?
Idaho.
He had to play, if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm switching him with someone else. I need to back off. I think I'm switching him with someone else. Maybe I'm not, though. He's from Idaho for sure.
Okay.
I think the other one is maybe Dallas Goedert from the Eagles. Maybe that's who it is. Where's he from? The story gets interesting. He's from South Dakota. It's definitely him.
Okay.
He had to play 7-on-7 football growing up because they couldn't field enough people to play 11-on-11. That's real country. That's crazy. All right.
And now he's in the NFL. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, colleges had to scout him based off of... he went to South Dakota State, for what it's worth. But they had to scout him based off 7-on-7 film. Yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
That is pretty cool, huh?
That's wild.
That's real country, my guy. That's some real grit, all right? There's not enough people within a 20-mile radius to field an 11-person football team. That's real grit.
That's insane. That's honestly insane.
So... I don't know. It's just an identity crisis.
Yeah. I do personally love, you've seen the graphics. I mean, we lost, I say we meaning West Virginia. West Virginia lost an electoral college vote because we had so much of the population leave.
Good.
So we lost a representative.
Good.
I am happy
you
to
deserve
have.
It. You didn't deserve
I'm happy to have contributed to that.
Same.
I am.
Yep.
I again, like you said earlier, I'm not hating on any person. If you're still living in West Virginia, if you don't plan on ever leaving West Virginia, that's fine.
We know plenty of good, smart, intelligent, contributing members to society who are like, this is probably where I'll stay. And a lot of them cite family as the reason why, which to me is almost not fair, by the way. I should not have to be dictated as to where I live because of, where my grandparents decided to bang back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's garbage. That's stupid.
Right.
Just my opinion.
To bang. They were banging.
Everyone's grandparents were.
Dude, the grandparents were going wild. They had like 11 kids. Like, what are y'all doing?
It was the great-grandparents. Those are the ones that were going crazy, mostly for our generation.
True. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
They needed the extra hands because they were real country.
Yeah. Dude, I can't imagine, this is a random sidebar. I can't imagine, like, growing up with, like, no power. Growing up with, like, no plumbing. I'm like, what?
Literally taking a candle outside to the outhouse to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Yeah. In West Virginia or any cold climate. Good luck.
Have fun.
You could be pooping fast because it's gonna be cold.
Talk about Meadow Bridge. My grandparents still live there. They lived in the same house like that my mom grew up in and stuff like that. They are. I'm not kidding. You remember the fun word that we all know the term of because it specifically affected us. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Derecho.
Derecho.
The derecho or derecho, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
The derecho. The derecho. It's kind of a cyclone. I've seen it described as a sideways tornado, which makes no sense. It was just a really bad storm. Wiped out power in the whole southern part of the state, okay? Worst storm we've had there this century, okay?
Yeah.
So in that, for example, my grandparents, quite literally, were among the last people in the state to get their power back. Mm-hmm. They have a generator for that exact reason.
Nice.
They get their gas paid for during disasters. They send the receipts in. They get reimbursed for it for that exact reason. But it took over a month, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, for them to have power back and restored. Because there's so few people out there. Like, per capita, it makes no sense to go prioritize you guys.
Right.
During the winters growing up, there would be storms where they're on a mountain, a literal mountain, Bacchus Mountain Road, baby.
Bacchus Mountain, yeah.
You know Bacchus Mountain?
I know
Shoot.
Bacchus Mountain.
It would be feet of snow. It wouldn't melt for weeks. They'd have no power. This is before they had a generator. Dude, they packed their food in the snow when my mom was growing up to keep it cold until they could get power back. That's real country.
That's wild.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. That's grit.
And my number one issue, if I were to sum this up with the whole fake country thing, is this. I was discussing it with my wife on the car ride home because I told her we're going to do this. You know, she obviously grew up there too. What is West Virginia culture? What is it? I can name like Ohio culture, and there's so many things that pop up. There's Ohio State, the pro sports teams, Skyline Chili, things of that nature. It's like, you know, it's small stuff, but it's very regional. It's specific. What?
Chili Night for West Virginia. There's Chili Night.
Beckley Chili Night. It is only like 37 years old.
Chili Night, baby.
And someone, you know, there was like a shooting there a few years ago.
Really?
You don't remember? No one got shot, but a guy shot a bunch of firing warning shots in the air, and they canceled the rest of the night. Yeah.
I tried this one chili. It set my mouth on
fire. I had to
drink
drink this 2-liter Mountain Dew.
That trended like nationally. I was like,
yeah. It's like a top 25 like most looped vine of all time, which like isn't a lot, but it's weird because like that was literally in our hometown.
Where was bro from? Like Oak Hill or something? He was from
Mount
close
Hope.
by, I think. Mount Hope. Yeah,
I remember that.
Okay.
Aaron Atkins. That was his name. I knew his wife for a little while. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, sure. His wife lived in Beckley. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. That's my question. Texas culture. Everything's bigger, right? The Longhorn like silhouette. Not even just the Longhorns of the school, but like the Longhorn silhouette. The Texas flag is everywhere. The outfits. Yeah. Football, sports, SEC now being part of it, which is weird. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. And then you have like Dallas, Houston, which have their own little like. That's culture. What is West Virginia culture? What is it?
That's a good question. Let's see what Google has to say.
Well, here's the thing. I'm like, what do they do well, right? Like pepperoni rolls, great food. Love pepperoni
fantastic.
rolls. Love pepperoni rolls. They're so good. But then there's things like whitewater rafting. Okay, we're not the best at that in the country. We're not the number one spot for that. Hiking, we're not the best at that in the country. And you don't have to be like world renowned, but there should be something unique that we're like, well, everyone does this. I don't know. What's
the first one? The first one I'll give you is folk art. Folk
art.
Okay, folk art. Dude, these things
part of
are
West
not
Virginia
like,
culture.
These are, you can say this about anywhere: music, dance, food, religion, and family traditions. Cool. So the whole Bible Belt.
There's nothing specific for West Virginia, man.
No. Appalachian culture. West Virginia is the only state that is completely within the Appalachian region.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all it says. Okay.
Right. And if we're being honest with ourselves, Appalachian culture is really just, this is going to suck to say and put on the internet. It's truthful. It's legitimate. Look into it. There's real data on this. Appalachian culture is just poor people culture that don't ever get better for the most part. Yeah. Right?
Its infrastructure is 50th out of 50 states.
50 out of 50. Every time. It's always 50 out of 50. Always 50 out of 50. Always.
Economy is 48.
Roads.
Education is 48.
Specifically, usually 48, 40. Not just infrastructure, but specifically roads are usually 48 out of 50. Education is where? 48?
48. Healthcare is 48. Natural environment is 39, which is honestly kind of, I don't know what that means, because that is like one of the things I'll give West Virginia is it's beautiful. It is pretty.
At times and at parts.
Sure. I don't know what natural environment. Dude, opportunity, it has it at 16. I want to know why.
I think it's because if you were a mogul, if you were Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, and you were trying to like be like, what's an untapped area? Dude, no. There was a map of 50 U.S. states. And each state was filled in with the highest grossing business to come from that state. Can you tell me what West Virginia was on this map? And it's true. It's legitimate. Where?
I guess Tutors.
Tutors.
I have no idea.
Great answer, but no.
What is it?
Geno's. They're a sister company.
Oh, okay.
Tutors. Sister company. They're in a lot of the same buildings.
Yeah. Yeah, what you're saying is correct. But, dude, at the same time, I used to say growing up, because I've known forever, I've known for probably 2 decades now that I did not want to live in West Virginia.
Yeah,
I used to say that if I had enough money, what I would do whenever I made enough money is that I would come back and I would buy a plot of land right in like downtown Beckley or somewhere close enough, and I would put in like a go-kart track and another putt course and all this stuff. Give people stuff to do.
No one would support it.
Would do that. People might would do that. They might not though. What you just said, dude. Every time a unique restaurant opens up, it shuts down because it's not fat Chick-fil-A or Olive Garden
Only
or Taco
chains
Bell.
can succeed in our hometown. Only chains.
Do you
Name
remember
one non-chain? I think of one literally off the top of my head. I can literally think of one. Name
Sister?
one non-chain that has done well in the state of West Virginia.
In the state of West Virginia,
A non-chain.
yeah,
That's like known. I can think of two now. I've thought of a second one. Even they had to shut down a location for what it's worth.
What are those?
First one was Pies and Pints.
Okay.
You've been to Pies and Pints,
okay.
yeah?
Okay.
And then Hillbilly Hot Dogs in Point Pleasant. They had a location in Huntington. They had to shut it down. So
I just think, like, do you remember where Shoney's was, and then Shoney's?
what can be better than this? Being here at Shoney's.
Shoney's. Love Shoney's.
Which Shoney's? The Beckley one near the guitar.
Yeah, the
shop?
one right across from Little Sicily, which I think is like another random like mom and pop place that actually has survived.
It actually has done well.
Shoney's
Shut
shut
down.
down.
Really good.
Yeah,
Shoney's shut down.
Shoney's shut down.
It's been Timberlake, I think, since then.
At one point it was that seafood place called Ocean Bay.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was when I was really adverse to seafood. But I went there and I loved it as somebody who didn't like seafood. Buddy, what it last? 8 months? Gone.
A year or so, yeah.
Because it wasn't a chain. Because it wasn't Fatty McFatterson. The way people have to do, like, pfft.
Yeah, dude. It's bad.
So all that to say, I used to say, like, I'm gonna. I never said I would like come back and live there. I'm just saying I would come back and I would give the people something to do because I remember there was nothing to do. But I'm like, they probably wouldn't do it anyway. They continue going to the Lowe's parking lots and drinking Miller High Life. They would not go to the go-kart track. Oh God,
that's great. I don't know. And a lot of it, like, to me, there's things you think about, like, what about this? Like, what about the hiking? Did you go hiking growing up in West Virginia, or did you know people who did regularly? How often?
I did frequently. I that was me and my wife's one of our favorite things to do because we couldn't really like.
Was that when you did you start in high school though? Because that's when I started as well. But growing up, I didn't, and I didn't know people who did.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah,
I started in high school. That's when I started hiking, and I loved it. It's great. I love hiking.
Right.
But in our hometown, where did you go hiking at?
We went out by the
soccer fields.
The soccer fields, baby. Yeah. We did a lot more hiking up in Morgantown. Morgantown had a lot of trails.
Yeah, I know that Morgantown's good for it. Yeah, which is barely West Virginia. It's on the edge of Pennsylvania. If you go by Cleveland logic, that means it is in Pennsylvania, by the way.
So stupid.
Because Cincinnati is in Kentucky, if you didn't know. Which means New York is in New Jersey, Philadelphia is in New York, Chicago is in Indiana, so on and so forth.
Yep.
Okay.
So stupid.
I guess we don't have rules.
Yeah, that's insane.
I don't know. I'm getting to the end of kind of what I had in mind to say. Really, it's just like there's no culture. There's nothing really positive about it comparatively to any other state. We mentioned how we're 48th or 50th in everything. There's nothing we do well. It's not even like Alabama, where it's at least it's Roll Tide. At least we had Nick Saban. West Virginia
my
legend,
favorite,
by the way. WVU sucks at everything.
My favorite thing that people try to make a pro of West Virginia, it's so cheap to live there. Yeah, because it sucks. That's why it's cheap.
Because you cannot, because no one wants to. If it was worth living there, people would buy up all the property, be like, this is great.
If you have a basic understanding of supply and demand, that's why it's cheap to live in West Virginia.
Because there is no demand.
I don't know what to tell you. Like it
kills me. I don't know. And we heard that a lot, and we still hear that, from family and things like that. And it's like, because we were house searching and stuff, like, you could have got that house for a lot cheaper here. And I'm like, yeah, and I'd be suicidal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I didn't. It's not worth it, dude.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I again, like I said earlier, I'm not hating. If you're happy in West Virginia, God bless you. I hope if you stay there the rest of your life, I hope you're happy all your life. I do. I will not be. The things I want to do are not there. I can do so many things I want to do so much easier in other places. So, and I'm sorry, like, we're only on this ball once. So I'm going to live 15 minutes from the water park. I'm going to possibly live an hour from the beach. I'm going to possibly live on a lake. I want to live where there's stuff to do that I like to do.
Regionally, there's no excuse for how poor West Virginia is. It should be environmental extreme, outdoorsy extreme. No. There should be great places to go hunt everywhere. Great places to go fish everywhere. Great places to go hike everywhere. Great places to go, ride 4-wheelers and 4x4s. That's what those are called?
Yeah.
Side-by-sides.
Yeah.
Everywhere. There's not, dude. Every time, it'd be like, and I know there's like Little Beaver State Park. I fished there sometimes growing up, things like that. Every time someone, and we did go to school with some people, I'm sure you could vouch for, who are like serious about hunting. There'd be like one or two.
Sure.
It wasn't a ton.
Sure.
There were people who did it casually here and there. But there are people who are like, nah, I'd live and die by this, right? They're like, I'm going hunting. Oh, where at? 3.5 hours away. Oh, okay. Why? Because that's the only good place to go do it.
Yep.
Okay.
You want to go to the beach? Everybody went to Myrtle Beach, which was 6.5 hours away. We had random lakes like Lake Stevens, which was honestly just dirty. And even then, it was 30, 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
You want to go to a water park? What's the nearest? We had like Waterways, which is that random water park I talked about before that had like 3 slides.
Okay.
If you want to go to any decent water park, you got to drive 3 hours. You want to go to any decent amusement park, you got to drive like 5 hours.
Yep.
And I love all that
support
stuff.
Anything. West Virginia doesn't support anything. Did we talk about like the New River pool literally can't get staffed?
Yeah. They had to shut it down.
I mean, 6 people.
And there's plenty of high schools in the area that you could get like a random high school lifeguard. You could get whatever you would. Now West Virginia Tech's there. You would think with that being there, like they would get some young people.
Beckley,
But no.
And I don't know, dude. How lucky did they get that Tech wanted to move? Tech was an entire town, the entire town of Montgomery, West Virginia.
Montgomery, that's where it was. I couldn't remember. Yeah.
Well, I've heard because I knew someone who used to teach there. And when they moved to Beckley, he did not come with. He was like, I'm good. It's because he was like, I live like 30 minutes from Montgomery. I live almost 2 hours from Beckley, right? These are friends I knew from like church camp growing up. Go reckon. He's like, I'm not moving to Beckley. He's like, and now Montgomery is nothing. He's like, there's nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, that was the town. Now they left, and now there's nothing. How lucky did Beckley get? That they had all these buildings and stuff that were going to go totally to waste because they screwed up 2 different schools being there. One lost their accreditation. Couldn't hand out degrees anymore in Mountain State University. Okay? And then University of Charleston, it's a second campus, whatever you want to call it, was too expensive for anybody to go there because it's a private school. Crazy. They got so lucky with WVU Tech giving them a chance and moving there. So lucky.
Yeah. And I guess it's worked out because that happened, at this point, 10 years ago. I don't know when exactly it happened.
Well,
so
its first year of school being there was when I graduated. So it would have been 2017. Fall 2017 was the first semester, I think. So, because it was a big thing in my National Honor Society thing. You had to say what school you were going to. And me and another guy were joking around like, they're not vetting this out. I could put whatever school I want. We both said we were going to put Brown. Brown University. Like, you're not going to vet this out. You don't know. Right. We didn't. But it was a thing that people were doing that I, would hear gossip about. People were putting WVU on there, and they're going to WVU Tech. They're like, you're not going to WVU. Stop saying you're going to WVU.
Don't do that.
WVU Tech.
Don't do that.
Multiple people said they were going to WVU in their Honor Society graduation. They were going to WVU Tech. Which is fine, but you're clearly the one self-conscious about it. I don't know.
Right. That was my favorite time of West Virginia was in Morgantown, the college atmosphere. Which again,
Same.
I don't necessarily attribute that like because of West Virginia. That would have happened wherever I went to college because there is always more to do around a big college campus, especially the 2 biggest colleges in the state. Yeah. There is more to do. So I did enjoy my time there, but. It's not, again, I'm not saying it's because of West Virginia I enjoyed that time. It's because I was in a bigger city. There actually was some things to do.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
We've long said if we ever live in West Virginia ever again, which we, in all seriousness, hope to not, it will be in Huntington, which is where I went to college. It's so much better than where we grew up. It's so much better than the capital city of Charleston. It's unbelievable. And Morgantown is the same way. I've spent enough time in Morgantown to say, like, it's great. It's fine. So,
yeah. We haven't found. Again, it's one of those things where other people can't make fun of us. Only we can make fun of us.
Yeah,
but we are.
We're not raging. We're not raving. We're not even waving. But
anyway, what a callback.
You used to say that rage, wave. You'd say
hey, a little bit of both. That's so stupid.
But that's all I have to say on it, sir. Anything else from you? Anything you want to close with?
No, that's all I got, baby. Go General Booty.
Big one for the Warhawks. Are they the Warhawks?
The ULM.
They're not the Red Hawks, I don't think, are they? They might be the Red Hawks.
They're the Warhawks.
They are the Warhawks. I was right. They're the Warhawks. Yeah.
Warhawks.
Shoot. Yeah. Kind of a cool mascot, too.
They're 3-1. Not doing bad.
How about it? In the Sun Belt, right?
In the Sun Belt, maybe.
Marshall's conference. So.
What's Marshall?
Not 3-1.
No.
2-2. Yeah, because we lost to Ohio State as well. Not really fair. We scheduled freaking Ohio State. So
right.
That was our own doing.
All that to say, go General Booty. West Virginia, I'll always hold a soft spot for you in my heart, but I ain't living there. I love you from a distance.
I don't have much of a soft spot. When I go home, I hope nobody thinks I still live there if they run into anyone I know.
Yeah, I remember you said
I told you that. I meant it. Sounds so conceited to say, and I mean it wholeheartedly. When I go home and I go to Kroger or Walmart, I always see someone I know enough to, like, they know who I am, but, like, I'm not going to talk to you, and we'll do our own thing, and I hope you don't think I live here. Because I don't.
I love the shock. There was a random person from our hometown who started getting into finance, and he hit me up because he wanted to, like, be our guy or whatever, and he'd get commission, all that stuff. And he's like, "You're still in West Virginia?" You know what I'm talking about?
You told me the story. You have to remind me when I get off because I was shocked to who it was.
He's like, how you still in West Virginia? I was like, buddy, I'm in Texas. He's like, Texas? I love getting that. Like, you're in Texas? Like, you're not nowhere near here. I'm like, no, sir.
Not at all.
So.
Well, to that I say, hooray.
To that I say, peace.
You don't want to say suck it, Bengals? That's it. I stopped recording.